Finland is the most extensively forested country in Europe, and forests cover almost 90% of its land area. Therefore, Finns are greatly provided with wood. But only the use of this natural fortune has made Finland as one of the world leaders in the utilization of wood-based bioenergy. Now in Central Finland, almost half of the total energy balance is produced with biofuels, thus aiming to become a region that is completely free from fossil fuels. Usually, factories are one of the main polluters in a country, but this one produces concrete with almost zero CO2 emissions. A few years ago, Parma concrete factory in central Finland used a heating system based on oil. But as the oil price was constantly growing, the company decided to make a change in order to reduce the cost.
Factory needs for process purposes heat also in summertime, so then it's a part of the drying process of the concrete, and hot water is needed year-round.
Therefore, the factory decided to invest into a pellet boiler. Now the promise to save money has turned into a reality.
If you would have used oil, it would cost like 100 euros per megawatt hour. But now when the heat, now that the cement factory, the concrete factory buys the heat from the heat entrepreneur and the heat is produced with pellets, it's like 60.
Factory consumes approximately 400 tons of wood pellets in a year. Even though there have been invested almost 180,000 euro in the new heating system, calculations promise that the expenses will pay back in less than 10 years. Moreover, now CO2 emissions of the concrete factory are greatly reduced.
Because of replacing oil, the emissions were reduced by approximately 530 tons of CO2. So it's in a year, yeah, and it's a really substantial amount of emissions.
A local school, just a few kilometers away from the factory, is also heated with wood pellets.
The decision to convert from oil to pellet heating was made because of both economical and environmental reasons. So the municipality saves, of course, money.
According to the calculations of the local municipality, heating with biomass reduces costs by nearly 1/3. Besides, around 100 tons of carbon dioxide emissions don't pollute the air every year, as previously when the school's heating was based on fossil fuels.
We are very fortunate because we have forest resources and we have know-how so that we can, switch to wood energy.
Wood pellets are produced in a pellet mill that is located some 2 hours drive from the factory and the school. The possibility to obtain and produce wood pellets locally obviously is a considerable advantage in order to keep the price of this fuel competitive. But what is even more important, the production of pellets takes a waste material and transforms it into a valuable commodity.
The main idea is to use side products which were like 10 years ago considered as a waste to make renewable energy. So the concept is like kind of new, even that the technology is quite simple.
Therefore, a pellet is simply a compressed form of the original raw material, such as sawdust or other kinds of wood waste, which can then greatly benefit the local economy. Considering the fact that previous winters have been rather cold, Tero hopes his business has a future. And many agree that wood energy has a great potential.
The wood could be used not only as it has been traditionally used for paper mill factories, but the wood and the waste wood especially could be and is already used to produce heat and energy.
Nowadays, new technologies have created new business opportunities for farmers. This farm, for example, produces energy not only for itself, but also for others. Kalmari farm is one of a kind in Finland. For years, its main activity has been the production of milk. But now, half of the income arises from making vehicle fuel. Here, first cars filled up their tanks already 10 years ago, but since March 2011 it has a new biogas filling station and at least 50 regular customers. On daily basis, the farm is visited even by taxis.
Sen verran erilaista se on ajaa biokaasulla, että se on halvempaa ja on markkinoinnin puolesta positiivisempaa ajaa sillä lailla. On semmoisia asiakkaita, jotka vartavasten tilaa biokaasutaksin.
According to the owner of the farm, the reason for developing biogas fuel business has been climate change.
Nyt tämä muuttuu enemmän ja vähemmän niin kuin myöskin tämmöiseksi elinkeinoksi. Että se on ollut tähän asti, se on ihan puhtaasti ja hyvin voimakkaasti tuonut esille tässä, silloin kun tämän auton hommasin, niin toin hyvin voimakkaasti.
Erkki Kalmari is proud he's manufacturing Finnish fuel that is completely ecological and fully locally produced.
Mä lähden lasketaan 10 kilometriä, noin kilo keittiötettä ja kilometrin menee auto eteenpäin.
In order to see the raw material for biogas production, one must enter a cow shed. There are 35 cows in the farm that produce 1,500 tons of manure in a year. Cow manure and waste from the local Sweets factory are the main supplies that are being used to power a self-constructed biogas reactor system. It produces not only engine fuel but also heat and electricity.
Ne molemmat on, voisi sanoa, aivan täysin kotimaisia paikallisia energiamuotoja. Ja tällaisilla voidaan, muutenhan meidän rahavirta, mitä me saadaan vuodessa, semmoinen 50 000 – 100 000 euroa tästä tuloa.
Now the owner of the farm wants to expand his business and build another, much bigger biogas plant. Then the production of this green fuel could be the main source of farm's income that meanwhile would help to reduce the number of CO2 emissions from vehicles operating within the country. Here the importance of green fuel is considerable, as Finland is the most sparsely populated country in the European Union. Every Finn has almost 6 hectares of space, therefore going long distances here is a daily routine, and driving green could make a big difference for better living in the future.